Holy shit, it's Tetris. Tetris is a fun game, and I want to talk about 3 specific games that take the idea of Tetris and bring its focus into completely different directions, based on skill, vibes, and mechanics. Also, I haven't been making any long-form videos for a while, and I kind of wanted to do it, so hey. The most common way Tetris can be taken is in a skill-based direction. There is a whole lot of depth and advanced techniques that really raise the skill ceiling of the game in a really cool way. From basic things like looking at what pieces are next, to planning your next moves, to T-spins, Z-spins, and O-spins? What the fuck? So let's talk about multiplayer. Multiplayer mode in Tetris can play one of 2 ways. The first way is to get a higher score than your opponent by the end of the round. And rounds can last for a while, so they can go as long as you both are alive, or if one player in the lead dies in game, which gives the other player a chance to overtake them in points if they play long enough. This is more popular in the older Tetris games where there wasn't really like a combat-oriented multiplayer mode. But old Tetris is quite different from modern Tetris, as pieces lock as soon as they touch the bottom, which makes it impossible for you to adjust after a piece has landed, or to get things like T-spins. So the optimal strategy turns into setting up Tetris as it gives a lot of points, but being careful not to misplace pieces, as one wrong move will end your run entirely. The other way multiplayer Tetris is played is through sort of battle mode. You clear lines to send garbage to your opponent, and whoever dies in-game first loses. This mode uses modern Tetris settings, meaning you can make a few adjustments to pieces after it hits the bottom before it gets forcibly locked, giving you access to all those spins that I talked about earlier. So the game becomes more of a strategic balancing act of making big plays to send garbage to your opponents, or to defend yourself from their garbage by going line for line. It's way more fast-paced. Like, I'm not an expert at Tetris, but I can get double T-spins here and there, but the mental calculations that these competitive players take to make and clear lines in less than 5 seconds always leaves me in awe. Like, look at how fast these people fucking do it, bro. This shit's crazy. And then the single player. The single player typically functions as a marathon mode setting. You have to clear like around 150 lines to finish it, as the pieces start falling faster and faster as you clear more lines. It's a very fun and engaging challenge for anyone to try, honestly. But the Grandmaster Challenge takes it up a notch, drastically increasing the speed of the pieces, shortening the time you have to adjust the pieces after they hit the bottom, and really testing everything you know about Tetris. And if you want to even smell the toes of a Grandmaster, you not only have to survive, but thrive, because the higher levels can only unlock at a certain score, meaning you have to land Tetrises and T-spins consistently throughout the run. And then it becomes almost comedic how difficult it gets. Like, just look at this, man. Every fucking piece goes basically to the bottom. It's crazy. Oh, I forgot about this. You have to reach a certain score twice. From there, it becomes a kind of specialized kind of torture. The pieces turn invisible, meaning not only will you have to deal with the pieces falling basically instantly, but you also have to fucking remember the pieces and where your next line will be. Shit's crazy, bro. I highly recommend that you check out, like, I don't know, a pro playing one of these challenges and just seeing the utter ridiculousness of, like, what the fuck is this, man? I'll link it below for your viewing pleasure. So another direction you can go when making Tetris games is through the aesthetics and the visuals. If you've seen my video on dynamic music in video games, I think you know what I'm talking about. Now, I don't think it's a hot take to say that Tetris Effect Connected is a very beautiful game. Like, it is very incredibly aesthetically pleasing. And what I find neat about this is that these whole worlds themselves evolve into 2 other variations as you clear lines. And yes, I have talked about this game before, but I want to talk about it again. So let's talk about it. Let's go to the underwater level for this one in particular. It starts off very simple, you're just underwater, but even there everything looks so fucking thematic. For example, the Tetris pieces are just bubbles that pop once you make lines with it. Each line you make pushes yourself forward through the water, which is greatly amplified as you match more lines at a time. And then when it evolves to the second stage, alongside the dynamic music evolving the music and sound effects, the dolphins appear in the background and swim with you as you continue matching lines. And then it all comes to a climax as you rise above the sea and are cruising as the dolphins jump alongside you. It's a simple visual, but it adds so much to the experience because it really sells that sense of progression throughout the level. And yes, while this game does have skill-based elements like the new zone ability that freezes time and allows you to make as many lines as possible, even that adds to the experience as it slows down all the visuals and inverts the colors, which really makes this ability feel even more powerful just from the visuals alone. Honestly, Tetris Effect Connected feels like a one-of-a-kind game because I don't think I've ever seen a Tetris game that puts its focus on the aesthetics as much as this game does. And that just makes it so much more special to me. And fuck it, I'm gonna show off the dynamic music of this level also, because I also consider it part of the vibe and experience. Now what if the whole concept of Tetris is remixed through its mechanics? As of writing this, I've discovered 2 more Tetris games that take the concept of clearing lines and completely revamps it into its own unique thing. Tetrachroma has a simple but unique spin on the game where you not only have to make lines, but also you have to make sure those lines are the same color. The idea is straightforward. The Tetris pieces come in 2 colors, and if the active piece touches another of the different color, it will change the tiles around that active tile to the color. And it will keep changing tiles until it either reaches the end of the board, a tile that is the same color, or a hole. I hope that makes sense, because I'm not explaining that again. So it's cool because it adds a further layer of strategy to the game wherein you have to more carefully consider not only where, but what color you place. And you can end up with lines that are different colors fairly easy if you're not playing around it. And if 2 colors wasn't enough, you can even up the difficulty to 3 or even 4 colors once you've proven that you can beat the 2 color variation. Not only that, but this game also itself has variations of this version of Tetris. One version adds wild blocks, which act as any color. Another adds clear blocks that, instead of transforming the tile color, erase the blocks around it instead, except for wild blocks. And even a big pieces mode, which essentially simplifies the game, but gives you less space to work with as a result. While Tetrachroma adds a puzzle element to the game, Drop Duchy turns Tetris into a roguelike strategy game, which is honestly kind of wild if you think about it. Okay, so in this game, you have a limited amount of pieces that you can place down, and the general idea is to make lines, as in any Tetris game that would have you do. But all these pieces have different terrains on them, from plains, forests, mountains, and so on, and making lines will give you whatever resources that are on that line. So the strategy ends up trying to line up every piece to make lines to collect as many resources as you can before you run out of moves. That's only one part of the strategy. The other half has you face off against enemies who are also tiles, and the idea is that you have to place them in a way that minimizes their strength while maximizing your army's strength. So for fights, it might actually be better to place blocks in bad places Tetris-wise, so that you will have a bigger chance of winning during the strategy phase. And both you and your enemy have specific tiles that work better under specific locations, like placing a piece around the plains tiles to increase its power, or placing it next to an enemy block to reduce their power. You really have to focus on the synergy of each piece, not only in relation to the terrain, but also with the enemy pieces, as they also have the tiles with abilities to them. And eventually, you get more tiles, which even further increase your options in battle and resource collecting. But the thing is, you can only hold up to 8 extra tiles, so you really have to mix and match tiles to find the best synergies for resources and or battle, and that synergize with the terrain of the area, which is told to you before battle. That's not all either. There's a skill tree for this game which unlocks more tiles and eventually more regions and biomes, which further increase the complexity of the game in an interesting way. And there's even different factions that you can play as, which completely change the beginning strategy of the game. I didn't even write about the fucking bosses in this game because at this point I didn't fight the bosses when I wrote the script. So let me talk about the bosses real quick. So this boss is a wall, and basically it's a very strong foe that limits your building area. Like, you can't build too high, but as you build more and more, the wall gets pushed back and their power decreases. So the idea is to build all the way up so that they have as little power as possible. So on top of placing tiles that benefit you and don't benefit the opponent, you also have to place them in a compressed area in a way that makes it so that it pushes the wall back. So it's like a balancing act between like how strong can you make your army versus how weak you can make your enemy army. I guess that's the whole concept of the game. And there's a skill tree. There's a skill tree. I did talk about it. Fuck, I did. I fucking love Tetris. I've been on a bit of a Tetris kick as of recent, so yeah. I wrote the script in like 1 or 2 days, so what do you think? Insightful question and ending here. I didn't write an outro, so just pretend that I asked an insightful question and just, you know, if you want to share some Tetris trivia, then feel free, dog. Write in the comments below. I read all of them because I'm a relatively small YouTuber, and no one comments on relatively small YouTuber videos, so yeah. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later if you decide to stick around, and if not, then oh well.